Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated. We have a guest today. Hi, Jill.
Hi.
This
Thanks for
is
having me.
Thank you for coming. This is Jill Spielberg.
I just have to say, because I love your last name, do you use that in restaurants a lot, like to get a good table?
I mean, it's my name.
No, but are you like,
Yeah.
I'm making a reservation, Spielberg?
Well, I do sometimes hear like the change in the way they're talking to me when I say that, but I don't think that they think I'd be calling for myself if I really was related.
But you could say I'm calling for Spielberg, you know?
Right. So I'll try that next time I can't get in.
I'll tell you why, because my maiden name is Scheinfeld, and I've called restaurants and they hear Seinfeld. And I'm like, yes. And their tone changes.
Yeah, I can hear it.
You should try it.
I'm
Just be
gonna.
like, I need to make a reservation for Mrs. Spielberg.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Nice.
I'll report back.
I got nothing. Okay.
Mrs. Hyman. You could be like a vagina specialist or something.
Lovely. No, I
Sorry.
always tell people when they ask how you spell it, I say,
Hyman.
hey, man.
Oh, yeah. It's a good
Like,
one.
hey, man.
So on your personality.
Okay. So Jill is a badass lawyer.
And she's going to introduce herself because we just learned that's what we're supposed to do on a podcast.
All right, fine. So tell us, fine. First, just tell us about you.
And
Like,
you could say she's a badass lawyer.
Yes. Thank you, Caroline.
Sorry.
Jill is a badass lawyer and she specializes in divorce law. So we're going to have a really fun time today. And she works in White Plains, but she covers all of New York City, right? And all of Westchester. So the tri-state area. Is that correct?
So only New York, Manhattan, Westchester, Putnam, Rockland.
So not New Jersey, which is why it's not
Right.
the
I was like,
tri-state.
wait, isn't
Right.
the tri-state area
That's
New York?
Connecticut
Okay.
and New Jersey. That's why it's
only
called
New
3 states, tri-state.
Okay.
The
I
Metro
usually
New York
I
area.
can't usually one up her on smartness, so that's
did.
fun.
I'm really bad in geography.
So am I actually.
Me
Right?
too.
Yeah.
I don't think they teach it. Did we all grow up in New York?
Yeah.
I don't think they teach it in New York schools.
Well,
I
they
just-
do. What about Alabama, Alaska, Arizona?
That's not
Arkansas?
geography. That's just knowing the place, the states.
Fine, but the 50 nifty states and knowing them is
Do you
kind
know
of
where-
geography.
I
Do you
feel
know
like
where-
it's the foundation of geography.
But do you know where they are?
No,
No.
it drives Doug crazy. I don't know what bridge I'm on. I don't know what
Yeah.
highway I'm taking.
I don't either. I would have literally been fucked if I didn't have like Waze. Yeah.
If you point and like ask like what's that way, like I don't know if
also-
it's the Bronx or Staten Island. Like
I can't read maps. But you know, creative people, I'm a lefty. Are either of you lefties?
No.
We can't actually do directions, and we're like, go, 10 yards left after 50 feet. Like
Wait,
it has to be landmarks.
Are you saying that being a lefty is synonymous with being a creative person?
It usually is, but I'm saying you can tell me you're going to see a store with a red awning on your left, and you're going to turn there. Like you have to use marks.
Oh, that's how I give directions.
Your directions are a whole nother story. You're like, go walk through the park and you'll see some trees and it's right there. Enough about us. Okay, let's talk about Jill. Let's hear how Mrs. Spielberg became an incredible badass lawyer.
Well, I after going to law school, I decided that I wanted to study or practice in an area of the law that was interesting. Like I needed interesting fact patterns or else it would totally lose me. So the choices were matrimonial law or like being at the DA's office. So I graduated with the year of all the people who went to law school after September 11th.
Okay.
So it was a huge graduation year. And it was the first year that the DA's offices weren't extending offers until you passed the bar exam, which back then was like around Thanksgiving. So I wasn't going to not be employed until Thanksgiving. So I actually ended up taking a job at a firm representing accountants doing malpractice work.
Accountants doing that.
Representing accountants who were being sued for malpractice.
That sounds really boring.
So that's
It
like
was
ambulance chasing.
Well, no, that's
that
insurance
sounds more
defense.
fun than this. I mean, accounting is boring. Imagine having to be a lawyer.
But
for
I thought
malpractice of
if you're
accounting.
going out, aren't those the people who are like, if you've like
No,
had an
malpractice
injury
is-
due to X, Y, and Z,
no,
call
that's an
1-800.
ambulance chaser.
That's personal injury. But I was representing the accountants who were sued because they
Oh, so
did
you were
something. It's
got
like
it.
professional liability. So I did that for a few years, and the good news is that I can like read a tax return. So for my now
Wow.
matrimonial practice,
nothing gets by you.
well, not from a tax return perspective. So then after doing that for a few years, I left and started my own matrimonial practice.
And
Here I
I
am.
imagine like you're a lawyer, but you're also probably a therapist and a psychiatrist.
It's mostly therapy. It really is mostly therapy. I mean, the legal side of things, it's pretty straightforward. Of course, certain cases where there's complicated businesses or compensation structures, there's a lot of law there, but it's mostly therapy. It's managing the emotions. I mean, you're seeing people at their worst. They're losing their kids, their money. It's
Yeah,
a
the kids
scary
thing is
time.
really kind of
It's a
crazy.
scary time, yeah.
Do you like being a lawyer?
I love it.
Really? So I feel like a lot of people who are lawyers are like, I don't like it. I hate it. Don't become one.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a stressful job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, it's like if I have a bad day, somebody literally like loses their kids potentially or money,
Mm.
So,
You must have high cortisol.
it's, I mean, it's something keeps me going. But at the same time, it's like you're getting people out of bad situations. And so that's how I sleep at night.
Will you take any case, or do you have to believe that the person is like just in their like either needs or accusations or situation?
So I don't take any case, but I also don't just take cases where people, I mean, they've got to be telling the truth. Um, but it's so subjective. Like with
Right.
that, they think they're a better parent versus the other
That's
parent.
kind of crazy.
It's, like
That's
they'll
why
be
they're getting divorced. Actually, I think I'm a better parent. Shit. No,
Are
I
you?
love you.
I'm not sure. Like you are, but I'm saying like I think you have like
No, we're
organizational
very
issues.
good.
You're very
We're
compatible.
complementary.
Yeah.
We do different things well with our
Are
kids.
you biased towards the woman though in terms of custody?
No.
Really?
I mean, and the courts are really getting much less bias in that regard. At least I think in Westchester and Manhattan. I've had several clients who are men who have primary custody.
And like, why would you give someone? Why? Like, okay, if you have two parents who seem to equally be, respectful, and that's probably the wrong word, but just responsible. Thank you. That was the R word I was looking for. Responsible, good provide. They both. How do you choose? Like, or you do 50-50 in that case?
So I think that the courts now it starts at like, why not 50-50? Like that's where they're starting. It used to be
dads on weekends.
Why should we give dad more than alternate weekends and a midweek, dinner visit? Now it's why not 50-50?
I think I understood that argument though, because typically it's like the meme. When a woman becomes a mom, she goes from work to work plus chef, cleaning lady,
right?
Coordinating, schedules, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's like man, when he becomes a parent, goes from like work to like work.
Right. Well,
is that not what you see?
So I think that the big difference is that when you're an intact family, there's division of labor, right? And, not to be stereotypical, but statistically, the husband
he's
is
the breadwinner.
He's the breadwinner. And the wife either works and takes care of the kids or focuses more on the kids in the house. When you get divorced, like the court gives the breadwinner or the person in the distribution of labor who's not focusing on the kids an opportunity to show that they can do it. Just because they haven't done it doesn't mean they can't, right? And so the story that I always tell is in one of my cases, there was a forensic report and the husband was a lawyer who had his own practice and worked a lot, and the wife did not work outside the home, took care of the kids. And the forensic report was recommending equal time for the parents and said that even though dad had always worked, he learned how to make eggs the way his daughter liked it and learned how to braid her hair the way she liked it. And it's like, that's the point. Like you have to give them the opportunity to show that they can do it too. I always say to clients, like, well, if he had to do the homework and make lunch every morning and get them to school, could he do it? And if the answer is yes, then there's really no reason that they shouldn't be afforded that opportunity, because on the flip side, the courts also expect people who haven't worked, if they're able-bodied, they're going back to work.
I kind of love that. I think that makes sense. And I just want to say, well, I think I should don't you think we should do like a cover note that we're not looking to get divorced. We're very happily married. I met Jill and thought she was fabulous and wanted to have her on because I think this is an area that's just super interesting. And I think there's so much to be learned about how to have a good relationship. And I just think you've also had such an interesting life.
But I just want to say one thing about the parenting thing. Like, how could you be a bad parent? Like, you only have to be a parent 50% of the time. And if that's it's kind of funny, Louis C.K. makes a whole joke that getting divorced was the best thing. Like, I get to be a dad 50% of the time.
Well, the thing, they say that because your time's limited, you give everything during those. Like if we could just only have to like give everything we had for some period of time, it's like when you're running a marathon or when you're running a race, like just the end, you need to give it everything you got. It's easier. So I think that there's something to that for sure. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say when I worked, that was the case I would make. Now, I don't know if I was rationalizing it to myself, but I felt, obviously my kids were the judge of this, but I always felt that by working, I really focused on quality time with my children. So because I wasn't there, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., when I was with them, like I didn't have a phone, I was focused, I was spending time with them because I knew that time was precious. Which is,
where I
the
was
point.
like I was full on with help, thank God, but I would hide sometimes and like be on my phone because I just needed to like zone out. I couldn't be like,
get that block blast score up.
Yeah, exactly. Let's play with. Oh, what do you think? Is this red? Red, which I would do, and then I'd be like, okay, now I'm gonna fucking shoot myself. So I need a break.
I think not working is so much harder than working.
It was so hard, and I actually think I agree. I don't know. But for me, I think having a corporate job would have been probably a lot harder.
No, but I agree. I think being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest job in the world. I think
you have to know
yourself if like you're cut out for it. And I also think that I don't know. It's funny. I often think, because I have friends who have gotten divorced, like, is that always the only option? And I wonder when
what the only option?
Getting divorced. Like, I wonder when people come to you, do you try and first counsel and see, like, do they really need to be here, or do they just need to be in like couples counseling, or, because I do think that you have to believe in the institution. And I think that some people believe so much in the institution.
And you have to know that marriage is fucking hard.
Really. Yeah, and it's forever. And
it's so hard.
I think despite it being so hard, if you're in
I love you, Jeremy, but it's still fucking hard.
Right. But like Doug and I are both in it to win it. So even though it's hard, we never think anything except this is hard. We're going to get through this together. Whereas I do think if you maybe don't come from that kind of home.
Well, some people also might have made the wrong decision at the altar. You know what I mean? Like there are people who get married and know the whole time before, this is not right, but I'm just going to do it. And they have kids, and then,
I always say that people would rather get married and get divorced than call off an engagement, because when you call off an engagement, you sent the invitation. You literally have to call 300 people and be like, this isn't happening. We're breaking up. If you just get married and then get divorced, the only people who know are the people that you tell or who hear from somebody else. So it's like,
that's insane to me.
Most of the people who come in who are getting divorced 0 to 2 years, they 100% knew, and they were walking down the aisle. I've had people come in after 2 months. And you have to wait 6 months in order to get divorced. Like,
why? Oh, so the court wants to make sure you've thought it through.
Well, if you have grounds, which it's very rare to get a divorce on grounds
or abuse
now,
or whatever.
But even if people cheat, you usually don't take the divorce on the grounds of adultery. You still take them on like a no-fault ground. It's just, that's what the courts want, because they don't want you to have to prove those allegations. If you're seeking if you're going for egregious fault, then you need to, which is, now we're getting to the weeds, but that there will be people, if you're doing it just like irreconcilable differences or irretrievable breakdown.
Movie.
Yeah. You have to wait 6 months.
Well, I do think like social media has made a lot of that worse. Yeah, of course, calling 300 people is hard, but like when you see people, first of all, there's the pressure for young girls to get married because they're seeing on social media all their friends who have like the bridal shower and the engagement party, and if they've already posted on social media, I feel like that's harder for people.
But that's why they go through with it. They go through things. They're like, it'll be fine. Oh, it's just hard now.
And that's why people also marry the wrong person, because they think everybody else is doing it.
So have you seen, you've done this a long time, have you seen trends in the rate of divorce and the kinds of people coming to you to get divorced?
Like in addition to the people who already knew?
Or is it just universal? It's always the same?
I mean, definitely COVID changed the landscape significantly. I think people had this sort of moment of, what if first of all, you have people who are like, I hate this person, when they have to be in close quarters with them 24/7. Like, so how many people that have like ships passing in the night relationships? And it works because
they're ships passing
in the night. When all of a sudden all the ships are parked at the marina or the port and nobody's going anywhere, it's a completely different world. And so for that reason, obviously people had those of the bad couples who were sort of looking the other way and could get by, are now like, this is untenable. And
you were one of the only businesses that actually saw an increase during COVID.
There was a lot, like Purell Lysol, the mask
Amazon.
and divorce
Moderna.
law.
Okay,
Well,
there was a lot of companies that did well.
We saw a big increase after, but we weren't able to commence divorce actions for a period of time.
Because you couldn't even be in court. Like,
I was in court. I had 45 days of trial between July and November of 2020 in person.
Jesus.
I
in
feel like
Westchester.
something just happened. It's our first rodeo. Can you hear yourself?
I can
hear you.
Okay. I couldn't hear anything for a few
Can
seconds.
you hear yourself?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, okay. Maybe you just lost your ears. But what I think I interrupted you earlier is I wanted to talk about how you guys know each other, because I think it's kind of fun talking about divorces and relationships that you only know each other, Eva and Jill, because your stepdaughter and your son, stepdaughter to be, okay, stepdaughter to be, sorry, and son are dating in college.
I know. So in some ways they set us up because they
Totally.
organized a lunch for.
What's going to happen if they have a bad breakup? That's going to be awkward between you guys now that we're going to be
Should
friends.
we just make a pact we're going to stay friends?
We'll still be friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you could
Pact
be like
made.
in-laws, which is crazy.
I mean,
You
no
married
pressure,
your college.
Caroline.
You married your college sweetheart. No
I
pressure.
did.
No pressure, George.
And I will say it's funny because I loved COVID. Doug and I loved.
I liked COVID too. I
being
mean,
home.
I was terrified, but I loved being with Jeremy.
I wonder if, I mean, there's probably not a way to track this, but I wonder if you're a homebody, you actually like your husband better after COVID because you've gotten to like be homebodies together.
So I had a couple of reconciliations that people who were getting divorced and
Really?
then ended up reconciling, because it's this moment of, it's like really this moment where you feel as though you're staring death in the face, and it's like everything goes out the window, not only the distractions that make it bearable, but also like all the noise, right? So, actually, this is the person I want to be with when literally there's a global pandemic. There weren't that many. It was, I think, 2 or 3 who reconciled, or somebody gets sick or they lose somebody, and then they have this revelation of like how important family is to them.
Right.
But the thing is, it's interesting. I always say I believe in marriage, but I also believe in divorce. Like,
Obviously, to believe in divorce, that's your job.
I don't believe it. I mean,
She's a divorce lawyer.
oh, but I guess, so tell me more about that in terms of, do you feel like, because you stay in touch with your clients and you just see them so much happier on the other side?
I don't have a single client who's ever said, I regret getting divorced. I don't have a single one.
So the reconciliation is like they're in process. They haven't actually divorced.
Correct. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I believe in divorce because I think that people have a right to be happy. And
Obviously.
people aren't getting divorced because they're giving up or because they're not committed to the cause. Like, sometimes people have really good reasons to get divorced. And I think like I have a very different perspective on the effect of divorce on kids. I think that people always say they're staying together for their kids.
No, I think it's worse, actually.
And look, the research goes in both directions, but kids know everything. They see everything. Like, they realize that you did not have your phone. And I've had kids tell CPS workers or tell forensic examiners that, like, when I'm with my dad, he's with us, whereas my mom's like on her phone or she's not paying as much attention. Like, they totally get that. It's not just like they can see the
But at
difference
what
and
age,
feel the
you
difference.
think?
I had it. I think she's 6, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they really know. And also they know that their parents are miserable. I have people who come in and they're like, we never fight. Well, that's weird. Like,
Right.
fighting is normal.
Yeah.
Fighting is communication and making up.
Oh,
and
great. I'm an amazing communicator then.
Right.
I'll fight in front of my kids. And I'm
this
like,
is
but you have to make up. That's what I learned. You have to make up in front of them, or at some point
Right.
say like you're fine. I don't know.
But I think, so what I'm hearing from you, which I really love, is, and I believe this, if you're not happy and if you in a relationship aren't modeling like a positive, productive, communicative team, then that's your kids' like formative experience. So in some ways, if you stay together, you're actually maybe harming your kids more.
You're definitely harming your kids because you're around. You like feel the stress.
Well, what
Right.
I always say is this. It's like, okay, we don't text and drive in front of our kids because we're teaching them not to text and drive. We try not to curse in front of them until a certain age because we're trying to teach them
I already failed
not to
that.
curse. Totally, my kids curse all the time.
Yeah, mine too, but they're younger than yours.
Like, when we're talking shit about somebody, like, we do it quietly. Like, if we're talking even about friends, I don't let my kids hear me like gossiping. So I'm trying to model for them, like, not to be like that. All those things. So why are we not also cognizant of modeling positive relationships? What I say to clients who come in and they're like, I'm not sure if I'm doing this yet. And they tell me a story, and we were talking about sort of like people's normal, what becomes normal in their house. And then you go and tell the story to somebody and they're like, that is not normal. I have clients who come in, they're like, it's really not that bad. It was just A, B, or C. And I'm like, that's bad. That's really bad objectively. And so I say like,
Can you give us an example of what's like really bad? I just want to make sure what our normals are like normal and not really, really bad. Or our listeners might have an A, B, and a C.
But don't you feel like some couples thrive on and love the crazy?
Well, what I always ask my clients,
let's hear the A, B, and C.
Who are considering, who are saying maybe I won't. It's like, if they have a daughter, like, would you want your daughter to be treated the way you treat your wife? Or would you want your son to be treated the way you're treated by your wife? Like, that's if I'm talking to a man, obviously, or somebody who has a wife, could be a woman too.
That's fine. We don't care. Don't worry.
No, but I actually do have a lot of same sex.
I heard lesbians are like the highest divorce rate.
So I actually just went to a comedian who did say that, and I was not aware of that. But
we're it's so obvious we're fucking psychotic. Could you imagine two women like going through menopause? Like, of course they're gonna get divorced and kill each other.
But I also think like we're better U-turners also, or like, you know,
more flexible.
Yeah, I was being bitchy. Sorry, like I was moody. You know, like I think we're more cognizant of that, and so you're maybe more understanding of other people.
I don't know. I think if I could never be with a woman for just so many reasons, but like I think it would be horrible. I can't. You just
But
fight.
I also think I get when you need to get divorced because for all the reasons you've said. But I also feel like
you want to know what the A, B, and C thing.
Okay, we want to know the A, B, and C. Caroline's really worried. She wants to know: are we normal?
I love my husband.
No, I know. I meant like,
there
are we normal, or are we?
I think there are a lot
of
listeners who might not. I like what you just said. It's like, would you like how would you like it if your daughter was treated the way, you know, your husband treats you?
Like you're modeling, you're supposed to be modeling good relationships, good etiquette, good manners, good treatment of other people, like give to charity, like all the things we do. Like you have to come to this charity walk with me because I'm modeling that's what we do. Come to the soup kitchen because I'm modeling. This is, you know, we want to give back to other people. Why are you not?
We got to do soup kitchens.
I know. I keep saying that.
Why are you not paying attention to modeling like good relationships for your kids? Like, why is that not as important as everything else? And so, you know, in terms of what, I know that you want me to give you A, B, and C.
Well, because I think people are like, they know, okay, you cheat, you do this. There's obvious things, but like, you know, these are interesting.
So
not that I think I have the A, B, and C's.
No, I often have people come in and I say, you know, they're like, I'm abused. Everybody uses that word very loosely. And I always say to them, like, I don't want you to use that word. I want you to use facts, be descriptive. That's conclusory, right? So they'll say, okay, I'm verbally abused. So what does that mean? Well, he'll call me a bitch. I'm like, I always make the same joke. I'm like, that's like the nicest thing my husband would have said to me on like any given day. I'm like, oh, this is like a good day. You only call me a bitch. But you know, it's everybody, it's relative, right? So people come in, I'll say, well, when you say that you're being verbally, like what is said to you, A, and B, is it said to you in front of your kids? Because one's just, the truth is in New York, like nobody really cares about A. The judges are just like, great, well, now you guys will be separated and you won't be able to curse at each other. It'll be fine. But if it's being done in front of the kids, then it's seen as being, you know, an element of the custody analysis.
Right.
Like, are you disparaging your kid's other parent? And that's that's like the number one consideration for courts is who is more likely to encourage a relationship between the kids and the other parent. That's the person who's more likely to get custody. Like, that's like the biggest
makes sense.
Consideration. So that's, people are always coming in. He speaks so terribly to me. He says horrible things to me. Like, what is he saying? Like, is he, you know, calling you a bitch, or is he like
saying you're like old and ugly and fat or like shitty and stupid and
stupid, like being very denigrating a spouse in a way that you don't want, you know, saying fat in front of girls, like big problem, really bad, because it's.
Is it okay if I say that about myself in front of my daughter?
Well, that I feel like that's for a therapist to talk about.
No, I know. I'm like, can I divorce my own self sometimes?
Right. I've felt that way so many times. Like, unbe who I am.
Tequila.
Can I unbe who I am? Yeah.
Well, tequila.
I feel like the court would award Doug full custody. He's really nice to me all the time.
I think Doug actually might get full custody. The only problem is you would forget what days you have.
I think it's because of how he was raised, talking about how you really are, you know, a product of your parents' marriage. But he always says, like, thank your mother, tell your mother how much you appreciate her. Right. Like, mom's, you know, the reason you all have X, Y, and Z, which is
would he
so
do it
amazing.
if you're getting divorced? Like, that's the thing. And that's what you're forced to do. And I have to ask my clients, I'm like, I understand that your kids are begging not to go to their dads, but you need to say, even if you think that there could be a problem there, like, unless you're ready to say he needs supervision, like, you have to say, your dad
Of
loves you have to
course.
go
Of
have fun, it'll be so
course.
much fun. And it's hard for people to do when they are so angry.
I guess that's why Doug and I are happily married, is because I feel like
The alternative is worse.
no, we would never, like, I can't imagine either of us disparaging the other in front of our kids. Meaning,
Yeah.
like, even if we were getting divorced, I would think it would be.
I
And again,
definitely will tell my husband that he's the slowest person on his phone too much,
right,
too
but you
long in the
do
bathroom.
but you do
those
it
are
with
normal Jewish
love.
wife
Like,
things.
your kids are not confused that you love your
No, they also
husband.
know my role model. They know my motto, which is obviously happy wife, happy
life.
life. Nothing.
Tell
You're
Jill what
ruining
your
it.
brother says.
Yeah, nothing rhymes with happy husband except divorce. Which is actually, I don't know why I say that, because that means that my husband would be happy or divorced.
That means your husband's cheating on you, basically.
No, it means like if you're actually married, it doesn't matter if he's happy. He's only going to be happy if he leaves me. Get it?
Yeah.
I don't blame him. Because I think
I'm
most
sure it's
men,
not true.
most men want to become deaf. I think.
To their wives.
Oh yeah,
I feel like men, I think that they, like,
that's a dream.
don't hear their wives like they hear other things. I think it's like
Selective
a
listening.
You know what's a
that-
test? This is what I'll do if my husband's not paying attention. I just bought something on Net-a-Porter, and I'll be like, what? It
Oh,
works.
you are listening.
Uh-huh. It works. Like with kids.
So just on a person, like, how has your career informed how you were as a wife and how you are now? And I don't know if you don't mind sharing with the audience just your journey in terms of your relationships.
So I'll answer the first part of your question first. So what I've come to realize, and my theory, everybody asks, what causes divorce? What am I doing? Like, is it cheating? Is it fights about money? What is it? And my theory is that it's lack of appreciation. Because lack of appreciation causes infidelity, causes fights about money, causes everything else.
Interesting.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I do too.
So I try to be very appreciative, not only in my romantic relationships, but also like in my friendships. Like, I find myself saying, like, I really appreciated that you were, that you answered the call and talked to me through this. Or I really appreciate that you asked all these questions about something that you clearly don't really care about. Like, when I obsess over my kids' sports and stuff, and my friends make fun of me because I'm always like obsessing over it. But
Were you an athlete? Is that why?
no, I think it's because, you know, I was an only parent for all these years, and my little one is a big athlete.
Well, you two boys. You're the only, so you didn't have a male role model.
Correct.
They don't do that much in the sports stuff anyway. They don't sign up for stuff.
I was about to say, you don't find a lot of moms. I guess with boys, though, Doug went to all the boys things.
No, with boys, at least in our circle,
Scarsdale's like sporty.
It's very sporty, and the dads are involved. And, I'm so lucky. I say this all the time, but my friends' husbands, like, I joke with one of them, Zach, because, he'll send me an email and be like, sign Griffin up for this. You got to, or like, here, I found a new guy for privates and like all this stuff.
Can he help me in New York City?
I mean, I'm sure he's got connections.
No, because I have no idea. My son's like, his piano's a sport. So I need a little help.
I played piano.
No, I love piano, but it's a sport,
Yeah.
Needs a little more physical activity. Anyway, keep going.
Activity. Yeah. So I had to sort of fill that role. Maybe I overdid it, and I also felt like I didn't want to be the reason that he didn't have the tools to play whatever sports he wants to play and excel however he wanted to. Like, for him, he's a tiny person. My 11-year-old is very small. But he's mighty, and he, wants to play on the teams with his friends who are all great athletes. So it's like, I wanted to be able to give him as much as I could give. So that's why I'm a little bit more interested in it. It's me and the dads often at the games and stuff like that. So,
and your husband passed away actually during COVID, right?
Correct.
Not from COVID.
Right.
How did you deal with that? Because like, you can't have friends, distract you like you're alone. That's really fucking hard.
Yeah, I was very lucky. So it was September. And I mean, there were some people who I had people who would be inside with me, not that many, but because I was working straight through.
This is pre-vaccination, so people were still scared.
Yeah. But people would go out to dinner, and then come over and like we'd sit outside and have a drink or hang out. Like that was really helpful. I didn't leave my kids for like 6 months, but I would just stayed home and hung out with them. But I was so appreciative. Like we had lots of heat lamps and I got benches outside my front door. And sometimes I would just like sit outside with a glass of wine and people would be walking by or whatever. And just like a lot of people making a lot of effort to keep me company. And so I was lucky.
Was there a part of it that was sort of, I mean, obviously it is the worst possible, worst imaginable experience, but is there a part of it that was a gift that you like life slowed down and you were with your kids at home during that period? Or
Oh,
was
you
that
mean
actually
that was COVID was the silver lining that he
No,
died during COVID?
well, I don't know the sequence of events, but it's sort of like a lot was going on in the world then. So to add that, was that like the worst timing, or in some ways was that timing that allowed you guys to really mourn?
You could focus on being with your kids and like the whole world was kind of at home with their kids.
Yeah. So I did not like my business did not slow down at all. I mean, we were in office every day except for the 2 weeks in like April when like everybody
You were allowed?
Yeah. Well, I had my own practice. So
Oh.
and I was actually supposed to start a trial on Tuesday and he died the Friday before. And so
was he sick or I don't want to ask you, Jody?
He died of cardiac arrest out of the blue.
Oh
Oh,
my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Crazy story.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No symptoms, not like
No, nothing.
Do they know, like, was it a genetic thing or?
It was not genetic.
Sorry if we're asking too many
did it
questions.
happen like in his sleep or while he was exercising or?
So he had, it's actually, I've said this, it sounds it's like very dark, obviously, but I would say if it had to happen, it was sort of in the best possible circumstances. He had spent they were having a boys' night. The Celtics game was on. He was from outside of Boston. So
my husband's
Celtics
from outside of
Oh,
Boston.
really?
Mhm.
So they were watching a Celtics game and I was like relegated to my room. I was on the phone with my friend and I was having a glass of wine and I came out to the kitchen to pour myself another glass of wine. And they were like, "Why are you here? It's a boys' night. You're not supposed to be here." And the friend that I was on the phone with said, "Why don't you just come over? We'll sit outside, have a glass of wine." So I did. And we were sitting outside and I was texting. My husband had he was putting the kids to bed. It was 10:15. I was like, "The game's not even over yet." He's like, "Yeah, but they have stuff tomorrow." So I said, "Okay." And then I wrote back to him, like, "I'm just in the middle of a substantive conversation. We're talking about something like interesting. So as soon as this conversation's over, I'll leave." And at 10:31, he wrote, "All good. Take your time. I'm in bed watching Law and Order." I got home at 10:55 and he was dead.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my
In bed.
gosh.
So I don't know whether he'd fallen asleep yet. It's unlikely, but it's possible.
Thank God your kids weren't there.
Right. So he had put them to bed. I mean, like I think about it
they
all the
weren't
time.
up.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that like he could have died on the stairs, laying in bed
Right.
with them, like a million different on the couch watching the game, a million different scenarios. Luckily, he put them to bed. They had this memory of having like this amazing night with their dad. And
Oh my God.
then
Oh my
also they
God.
were sleeping. So I was able to like reach their therapist at 1 a.m. Thank God I called her 400 times. She answered. And like have a plan for the morning and telling them. So
Oh my God.
all things
Wow,
considered.
Are your parents nearby? Like,
Yeah, I called them both. My mom I think she was at dinner at a wedding or something. She was out, but she came
and
my dad came from the city, but like he had to Uber because it was COVID and like the garages closed at 9 or 10. Remember they would like close
Right.
early.
Right.
He couldn't get his car out, so he ended up Ubering, but that was like a thing. He was like, "I got to figure out how I'm going to get there." Like, get
oh
in
my
an
God.
Uber.
And they never
Oh
figured
my
out what
God.
happened.
So do you feel like you were just on adrenaline to like make sure like did it the fact that you had the wherewithal to like call the therapist,
I
make
know.
a
I'm
plan,
like,
do all
that's
of that?
amazing. What kind of mom are you? Like you called their therapist first before even like.
Well, because I was like, the fuck am I
Yeah,
going to
you're
say to
right.
these kids when they wake up? And like, what? So I had the luxury of
Yeah.
being able to have a plan. So like, whatever.
Yeah.
I always joke, like, my kids are going to be horizontal on couches the rest of their lives. And I can just blame their dead father. But all
Sorry,
the
don't mean
things
to
that
laugh.
I've done and like mistakes I've made out the window, now I can just blame him. But I wanted to handle it in the best way possible. Right. I think, look, I'm a crisis person.
Clearly,
it's what
you're
they say about
amazing.
ADHD people. We're
Oh,
amazing in
really?
a crisis. Best
Oh.
in a crisis. Yeah.
Actually,
by
I'm
the
very
way,
good in a
Caroline's
crisis.
amazing in a crisis.
My husband would totally disagree.
I think
am.
you are.
Really?
I might not have ADD.
No, I think there's different forms.
It's totally
Well,
different
because some
form.
people, when you can only have, it's actually an inability to prioritize your focusing, your attention. So if something's in an emergency, you're clearly focusing.
Well, right. I mean, people with ADHD also have hyperfocus. So
Right.
Yes.
so my whole family, both my kids have ADHD. So
Yeah,
we
of
spend a
course,
lot of time at home talking about, I call it my superpower because it really is professionally. I
Yes.
feel as though
superpower, but needs meds.
totally needs meds.
Yeah.
But I think that like it, there's so much research about all of the benefits to ADHD. Like it really it makes you more
Yes.
empathetic. It makes you
More creative.
good in a crisis.
People person, like magnetic.
Yes.
Pharmacists make a lot of money off of me. It's great.
Totally. Me too. Well, it's really insurance company.
No, I guess it's everybody. A lot of people make money off of me. I just haven't figured out how to make money off of them. But no, I think it's crazy how you just can like talk about
I'm
it
in
and act like
awe of
that.
your strength because
And to not have answers. Like, did you ever get an answer on how he died? So
Yeah,
I keep going back to
his
that.
heart was enlarged. He had a lot of scar tissue, so couldn't conduct the electrical current. And that's
Did he have heart surgery before?
no, he had an ablation, but it was unrelated.
And that caused scar tissue? No, he just had scar tissue.
No, he just had scar tissue. His heart was very enlarged. So
Jesus.
He had a big heart.
Yeah.
You're amazing. Because honestly, like now I just feel stupid saying anything.
Well,
Like it's just like it's just hard.
Well, actually, we met because you're in a new relationship and you're engaged. So mazel tov.
Yeah, mazel tov.
And I guess
there is light at the end of tunnel.
like you're an inspiration that like you can have a whole nother chapter. And I'm curious like how you picked yourself back up and what that experience was like. Because we joke that, sometimes we, after a good episode, shitting on our husbands, will be like, well, nobody else will want to date us now if we get divorced. But no, like I am very grateful I'm not in the dating world and I'm happily married, but obviously people do it. Many people leave your practice and go on. But like, what was that a hard experience for you?
I think it's harder when you lose the person, right? Because if you hate
but like,
that
did you
person,
have to like
go
out with people and then be like, I have 2 kids and my husband passed away?
I was not as desirable as the other people because I have my kids all the time. So you're with another divorcee, and they're like, okay, we have weekends off together.
You have to kind of find another widow.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I didn't, but it's one of the. I mean, some people.
And you have young kids, so it's not just that, but people have to like. I imagine you're dating people who might be like, I already raised my kids. I don't want to do it again. Like you found a gem.
I know we joke all the time because Spencer was just about to be an empty nester.
This is
and now he's like
Daisy's dad.
Now he's like back.
Back to having. I mean, now Griffin's 11, but he was 9.
But that makes me love him so much. And I mean, I've only met him once, but the fact that that wasn't in any way a deterrent that he had just like launched his youngest off to college and that he's like all in to be dad again.
So is he taking over sports?
No,
I think
he like literally won't take over sports. He won't.
Were his kids sporty? I don't even know.
Yeah, well, they both played sports.
Are they girls? 2 girls?
No, a son and a daughter.
That's ridiculous. Spencer, if you're listening, take over the sports.
Oh, yeah. You didn't realize that by Jill coming on this podcast, like we're going to call you out by name.
Yeah,
too.
like, come on.
As much as I love the shout out to and the support for him taking over sports. He does. So my older son has autism and ADHD and all this other stuff. So it's helpful that, for so long I had to drag him to all of Griffin's. Like, thank God he got rid of baseball. Those doubleheaders, they killed me. But tournaments and stuff, I mean, now he's older. He can stay home alone and do what he's got to do. But it's great because if he's not, only one of us is going to be at the games.
Yes, you can divide and conquer now. By the way, like you get a huge shout out. I can't imagine a life without dividing and conquering. Like that's, I mean, obviously when your spouse goes on a work trip, but like you're like heavy duty parenting nonstop. Like, did your family come in and help or like, how was that? Cause I would also love to talk about your mom at some point. Cause she's kind of my idol for like, never stop having fun.
Yeah. Ooh, is she fun? Does she like party?
Super. Oh yeah.
No.
She puts me to shame. Yeah. She's really fun. And she was
we should have her on the podcast.
What are her life lessons? Like, how does she, like, what would she tell like our generation about like
Or what was her advice?
Keeping the fun alive.
Oh,
Oh, and right, and dating advice.
Yeah, that too.
Well,
but
she's
like,
also so she's divorced. So and she just met somebody, so that's really exciting.
that's exciting.
So exciting.
Because I feel like women at a certain age group, like they just don't want to put themselves out there.
Yeah, she was not super committed to the cause, but we set her up with a friend. There were couples. We all go to Aruba in December, and one of the other families, his father was a widower, so we set them up.
Did you like your dating
Love it.
experience inspire her to get out there?
No,
She was probably
like,
scared her.
She was the apps. She would try it, but it was just not for her.
Like the men were just terrible.
And whenever she was set up, she always was successful in a setup. She dated several people who she was set up with. Apps were like not as. I think it's so much harder. Also, like
I couldn't even do an app.
Well, I just learned what catfishing means.
I mean, that's crazy. You didn't know.
You taught me.
Of course, I know. I remember. It was like last week.
But so back to how I think you told me you met Spencer on a blind date or online?
On an app.
On an app. Okay.
Which app?
Hinge.
Cool.
But
I missed all the apps.
And were you telegraphing like I'm a widower and I have 2 kids, so only
I think you don't lead,
interested?
but she probably was leading with some other stuff.
She was catfishing. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, catfishing is only physically.
No, but I would think that's good. That's like, hey, I want somebody to build a life with, and I have young kids.
Well, I
could also scare people.
Yeah, I think.
Do you know men?
Yeah, that was not.
That's
I would
scary.
not. Although Spencer and I did have that conversation.
But it wasn't on your profile.
Right. It wasn't. But so sometimes I put widow, but it was also really awkward because everybody's always like, so how long have you been divorced? And then you have to have that really unfortunate moment with them because I would always feel so bad.
They feel like an asshole.
Such an asshole. And I try as many times as you're like, no, it's really fine. It's fine. It's fine. So
right.
I would sometimes put widow just because of that.
Yeah.
And also like, if you don't want to be with a widow, then just don't, then let me know.
It's more
now.
desirable because it's like you didn't fuck up your relationship. He died.
Yeah. I feel like people who are divorced don't see it that way because they don't want to be seen that way. Like they don't look at them and say, "Oh, they must be a nightmare."
Actually, it could be worse because then they could be like, "Oh, is she still in love with him?"
Yeah, I'm
thinking out loud.
No,
But right, like somebody who's divorced could think that.
I mean, look, there are benefits to being with a widow. I guess there's not any
competition
or drama with an ex or any of that, or
right.
But there's also, I think the cons probably outweigh the pros if you have young kids. If you don't, then it's a non-issue. But to be almost an empty nester and then like take on not only, I guess they were, I guess 8 and it's almost 3 years ago. So whatever, 8 or 9.
Well, you're worth it.
Oh, you've been with Spencer for 3 years.
Yeah. February will be 3 years.
Love that.
So my kids were like younger and like more nightmarish. Like now they're so even more independent than they were then. But that was a pretty big deal to be willing to take on.
You must be a really nice guy. I don't even think
he seems like
current dads want to take care of their own children.
He definitely wants to opt out plenty also. And like I have to sort of be like, that's fine.
But do you? I do feel like you reach a point where I don't know. I mean, I'd be a shitty second wife because I'd be like, yeah, you're taking care of the kids and you're taking them to sports. And
well, it's like, I mean, sometimes it's like, it's a reality of, right? Like he can't just ignore it.
You probably have great help too.
So my nanny at the time, she literally was my co-parent. My husband worked a lot. And so she was my co-parent and then really continued to be my co-parent in a very real way. Like I'm always like, look at how great our boys are doing. Like I sent her pictures and all this stuff. And I could not have done. I mean, I called her she was one of my first phone calls and I was like, you better get your ass over here. Cause like, they're going to need you. She's like, I just need to sober up. It was a Friday night. She was like out with her friends. She was in her 20s. So, she came the next day and she definitely stayed with us longer than she intended to, like years longer.
But even like with a husband, I have like what I called like a wife. Like I had a 20-something-year-old. I mean, I have someone else now who's helping me because the other one moved. But women just think differently. And I think it's like to have that perspective, it's nice to balance it off. Also, like we're not expected to do, it's a new concept to this nuclear family where like the responsibility is like 50-50 or like you need sometimes more women to help because they can think better.
100%.
They're gatherers.
Yes, I think that's totally true. I feel like
Not
when
to
you
say that your husband didn't contribute, you know?
it takes a village whether you have family, but if you don't have family, I do think that you need caregivers
You have to pay for
around.
hired help. You have to pay for family. Literally. I mean, that's where
Right.
baby nurses were invented. Like, as Jewish moms, I guess, just stopped. They didn't want to do that. Did either of your moms like wake up with your newborn?
No. But also, it's hard because you want to I was always very happy to, like, here's a baby nurse. They've
Oh yeah,
dealt
I
with
wouldn't want my mom being there.
hundreds of newborns. Like, I have no idea what to do. It's my first kid. I don't know. You tell me. You
Right,
do
and
it.
they did it like 30 years ago.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly. And also, and so it's like easy to say, no, I don't want it done that way. I wasn't really that kind of a parent. I was happy to be
Same.
taught.
I had no idea what was going on.
Oh my God, I'm so opposite. I
Yeah,
did
you're
not
kind of
like
waspy in
having
this
a
sense.
baby nurse. I wanted to do everything myself, and I felt like my instincts were dead on. Like I was like, I know best how to take care of my baby.
Like, how did you know?
And
Like,
my mom is like that. Like I would say she was like a baby nurse. Like she had the patience and would rock George for hours and hours and babysit when they were really, really little. I don't know. I feel like I was really just like in
you were
another
never
lifetime,
nervous.
I could have been a hippy dippy
But
mom
how did you know
nursing
how to
my
take care of like
3-year-old and
a
having
circum?
8 kids.
Oh wow, that was a
I,
curveball.
yeah.
I never would have been a hippie mom ever. I'm
and I
way too
barely
vain. Also,
breastfed. Like,
me too. Well, you can't take meds.
No, I was happy to
I,
stay fat and like have thick,
I
creamy
wasn't
milk.
on meds yet, I guess.
Oh, I took no. Really?
Yeah.
You just that's
Unless I
interesting.
stopped. I mean, I only breastfed
I did it for like
4
6
months
weeks.
and then one and a half for my kids. And that was
I
it.
did
I
a
was at work
year, all
pumping.
3
I
kids.
hated it. I just didn't have any milk.
Okay, so I have to did I tell this story ever? So I was really into breastfeeding and it was a natural talent. I don't have many, so I'm gonna brag
Yeah.
about I had a lot of milk. But I
Ooh.
literally in the office, I'll never forget this. I used to close my door, take off my shirt, put on my pumping gear, and then put a big t-shirt over, get behind my desk, put the pump below, turn it on, and then I'd call in my meeting. And I'll never forget one day I was having a meeting and my CFO turns and he hears, and he's
Oh,
like,
that machine.
all of a sudden out of nowhere, he's like, what's that noise? And I was like, oh, I'm pumping. And he was like, what?
I mean,
He
it
was
is kind of
horrified.
weird to do that, like in front of. That's fucking weird.
I guess like I was always
And
desperate.
I was not
imagine?
expecting that story to go where she then was like, and then I called in my meeting and I'm going, what?
Yeah, like
I
could you
know.
it's like if you're at a guy calls you in, he's got like a pump attached to his dick.
And that's like a long
It's like,
time
Nobody
ago.
saw if it was under
It's
his
just
pants.
weird.
I don't know. I just was sort of like, I'm a mom. I want to keep working, but I also want to keep nursing my kids. You know what it was? As a working mom, I think I must have
It's your
felt that
connection.
guilt. And I felt like because I could keep nursing forever. In fact, the only reason I quit nursing with George at 1 year old is because
He was fucking 1 years old.
No,
and had teeth.
I went on a
Good
trip
at
to Boston and I was sort of shamed. Like looking back on it, I think it was probably uncool. But like I remember the team I was traveling with was like, how old is George? I was like, he's a year. And they're like, you're still pumping. And I
I
came
think
home
it's
from
weird
that
to
trip
pump for that.
and I
That's
said to
weird.
Doug, like, I think I have to like wind down. Like people are starting to, like, I'm starting to get like the creepy vibes from people. Like they think I'm creepy.
It's weird when they can ask for your boob. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I
But
think it's
that's-
fucking
but-
weird. Not in a third world country.
I loved it. And
Wow.
I mean, I just loved it.
It's
I loved
great for each his own, you know?
Totally.
I was like, I can't. This is, and my kids were like, give me a bottle. It was a good.
Yeah, neither of my kids give me trouble. They knew. I think they could tell. Like this is
Right.
Well, I had
my
no
vibe.
milk. So they're like, what the fuck is this? It's horrible.
I don't know. It's a good question about medication.
And then I was like, I need meds. I can't function. My life's falling apart. But
yeah,
you
I
know,
came to meds very late. So
yeah,
my
no.
life was just like at a perma fall apart level. So I didn't notice the
Yeah,
difference.
that's great. So you were like getting high off the oxytocin from the
By the
breastfeeding.
way, it was the best feeling in the world. I felt
Yeah, you usually
high
get that.
on nursing.
Yeah, I would feel like, but I would feel that just like bottle feeding, like holding them.
I
You
feel
know?
like
Who's
my
more maternal
mom-
now?
I feel like my mom would agree. Like I think we're very different parent. We see parenting differently.
Well, it's generational too.
I remember when I was sleep training my kids, I sent both my mom and my husband out to dinner. I'm like, you guys need to leave because they like neither of them could tolerate like the negative feelings, and they were
Right.
just.
That was like me. I had to leave.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it. The
It's
crying,
like,
I couldn't
yeah.
handle it. I wanted to go in.
I mean,
Our moms went in, which is why I'm fucked up.
right.
I think this is why you're so good at your job because you seem to be somebody who can sort of be
Compartmentalize.
very empathetic and very judgment free, yet at the same time you have like emotional boundaries where you can sort of like compartmentalize.
Yeah, it's
And like
amazing.
you talked about, I read an article that you were featured in where you talked about how you think empathy is one of your most important skills in your work. And I think even in your life, as you're talking about like how you can be empathetic, but at the same time rational, like a male brain rational.
I think I'm definitely compartmentalized. And I think that that's sort of like, I think that that was a response. Like my parents did not have a good marriage. And it was a big part of our home life. And then I'd have to like go to school and be normal and happy and worry about my friends. But like I was very involved in their strife. So I think that that was developed sort of like a lowercase t trauma response, like just coping mechanism from what
Right.
I had to do, which is why I think that I can do this type of law. I mean, a lot of my colleagues are like, you get the craziest cases, but it's because my tolerance is high because of what I
Right. You're also
Yes.
very like you're very calming, but
feel
like
like-
strong. And that's what you need. You need somebody
And
who's
you
calming
never
and strong.
mentioned, because I had in, one of my early thought sessions about what I wanted to ask you, like, what was your parents' marriage like? And is that what led you to this? And then when we just asked more open ended, I didn't ask that follow up because you had a very clear, logical reason why you chose matrimony.
Probably
But
from your
I'm
parents a
sure
little bit.
somehow deep down there was that driving force to choose that.
Well, I think I wasn't scared of it because I knew that
Did they get divorced when you were young?
No, they got, and like, I believe that they should have.
And you
Mhm.
see how much happier they are now.
100%. Like, I think that there was this time when I was 16 and my dad had left for a little, like, moved out or whatever for a little bit. They were separated. And he would tell the story that I begged him to come back. It was right before Thanksgiving. I begged him to come back. And then he came back for Thanksgiving. And like I have said, I wish you would have just, been the parent and listened to me and stayed. I think that it would have been better for both of you if you had gotten, and me,
Right.
if you had gotten divorced earlier. But they got divorced when I was 27.
Yeah, that's old.
Is your dad single?
No, he
Oh.
has a partner.
I was going to say, I know so many women.
I
I
love
love
that.
matchmaking.
I know you're very good at it.
I am.
But no, I think it's very interesting. Our parents' marriages tell us a lot about how we communicate, and
I think we
Or
either
don't communicate.
emulate or seek to do the opposite. I
Try-
think
I try to
not
take-
everybody does. Not everybody.
I always say you're a product or a reaction of your family.
I think I'm both.
Yeah, you can be both. And
Yeah.
it's you can be both at different times. Like, don't you find like you sort of all those formative relationships, then when you're with your child or your husband or a friend, you realize you can play the part of you can play the part of your
You have to
parent.
be a lot more conscious to not repeat old behavioral patterns. Like if I just autopilot myself, I'll go right into like similar shit that I either experienced or acted,
Yeah.
That's I
it's
think
hard.
you
one
have to
of
be
the
intentional about
right.
not-
It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
I always love when, I was in therapy, the idea was you want to be able to exercise free will. You don't want to just be on default mode where you're doing something because you're compelled to do it or
It's comfortable.
or it's habit. You want to be able to kind of pause and say, yes, this is what my inclination or my natural tendency to do would be. But what do I want to do right now? What would be a better outcome?
Like what I say to my
Or,
kids.
Yeah, what would be a better outcome? Like this would be my natural inclination. I know this is bad.
I see sometimes I do and I just do it. I'm like, I know this is not what I should do.
By
But
the
I'm
way,
just gonna say it.
But I think
'Cause it
that's
feels
okay.
good.
But I think if
Does
you
feel good.
know that it's bad and you decide to do it anyway, then that's
free
an
will.
intentional choice. Like you've
Really?
weighed the
I
pros
know
and
the result.
cons, and you're going in with your eyes wide open.
I know
like
the
you've made
cons are
that
higher,
choice.
and I'm just like, fuck it. I'm gonna just say what I know I shouldn't say, and I know it's gonna stir something, but I'm just gonna say it. Shouldn't? Yeah,
But
know.
I think that that's a measured
right, okay.
decision.
Wait, before we end, I feel like lately I've been reading articles about this new trend in prenups that even if you're not super wealthy, the younger generation are doing
Well,
prenups.
Everybody.
prenups are more
COVID.
about what
Is
you've
it-
made, like not because usually if you have inherited wealth, it's trusts or it's harder to get. But I feel like a prenup is like the money you could make going forward.
I don't know.
As a
I'm
couple,
curious
right?
your point of view because it's not something I ever thought of. And I think our generation almost looked down on it. Like
Yeah,
it was
it was-
unromantic.
There was
Yeah, I
was
agree.
very stigmatized. I mean, divorce was very stigmatized until like a decade ago. I think now there's almost no stigma. There's in some world, it's like once somebody gets to a certain age and they're single, you're hoping that they were divorced because why did they not settle down? Why were that, is there some commitment issue here, right? But
Yeah. Oh, it's a red flag if there's like
if
45 and
and
single and never
never
been
married
married.
rather than be divorced, like it's not as scary of a thing.
True.
Similarly with prenups, major stigma. Um, and it was definitely on the decrease, but COVID, I mean, I do so many prenups. I can't even,
Since COVID.
so many. Yes.
Wait, so why?
COVID,
I'm not getting the connection. Why
I think
COVID?
it's because people, again, had this realization of like, it might not work. Or like, what if there's a pandemic and I have to be with this person 24/7? Like
Fascinating.
But then shouldn't you not marry them?
wow. But maybe, look, I
No? I
think that
mean,
people, I think it's okay. Like I always say, no one person can give you everything. I really believe in that. Like I feel like sometimes I want to talk about my cases and like I don't. I mean, Spencer is polite for a while, but eventually he's like, okay, like how many, and
Totally.
so
well, of course, you have to have friends because like you can't just rely on your
right. So
husband.
I think that people get into and stay in relationships for all different reasons. And I think like it's
Yes.
all okay, like you
Mhm.
hear so many times somebody had an affair, but they're staying together. Like that's okay. There's like a ton of good reasons to make that decision. Potentially, you have to hope there are good reasons or else they shouldn't stay. But,
Right.
um, and so I think that people, and by the same token, people, start relationships with people and remain in them and get married to them, even if objectively they don't seem like the right person and maybe might not actually be the right person. They see them as the right person for one reason or another. And sometimes that changes. And that's why I believe in
It's true.
divorce
And
also.
people also can change.
Yeah, people change and circumstances change. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Right. If
it's
people marry for money and like money goes away, I think
right.
that can be a big issue.
Right. And also, I think, I don't know, this might not be right, but I think if you're committed to the institution and the idea is, I want to be married and like grow old with my partner who I had kids
Not
with. And
everybody
then
does that.
not everyone feels that way. And some people might feel like, you know, I have different needs in my life as somebody once my family is all grown and out of the
I think
house.
Yeah.
Jackie O said something like she described each of her husbands for a specific reason. It was like John F. Kennedy was for, you know, to have her children. And then she was with, who was she? She was with Onassis. She was with someone
Yeah.
else in between. But like they were for just different stages in her life. Like I think her
It's like,
chemistry with her chemistry with JFK maybe wasn't the same as it wasn't as good with Onassis, but like she was older, wanted to go on yachts and travel. There's different.
Well, I mean, I think about what I always used to joke about, like my list when I was in my 20s, who I was looking for my first marriage, and then what my list became this time around. It's like totally different.
right.
Well, you
I
have
think
the
that's right.
child making things done. So it's like you don't have to focusing on different things.
Yeah, it's focusing on different things. And I think that, I love prenups. I think that they, not for the reason that other people might like them, I think that it tells you so much about your partner. So, first of all, do you know how many people come to me? They've never done any financial disclosure. They have no idea what the other person has. And you have to fill out a financial disclosure affidavit when you do a prenup. So, like all of us, that's a big piece of what your relationship is about to be that's now on the table that
Oh,
was not
people aren't
before.
honest. So
Or just like
interesting.
it's
They don't
not,
ask.
they don't ask. Or it's just
Right.
like it's taboo. They've had their own accounts before you're married. Maybe that's just the
Right.
way, maybe they haven't lived together. Maybe they've had two
Right.
separate houses. Like there's a lot of reasons for them to have no idea. Or like it's none of your business what my family has or whatever
Right.
else
Right. Which can also be,
right.
or if the person says like, whatever, even if we get divorced after 10 years and have 2 kids, my money's my money. Like you don't want to be with a person like that. That would be in the prenup. You
Well,
would
I
see that.
think again, like I think, yes, I think it depends, right? I think that the beauty is now you have disclosure and you also have to talk about maintenance and alimony. And so
Oh, you have to
maintenance
talk about
is
divorce shit. Like if you
right.
As
Well,
part of a
see,
prenup.
I don't like because that feels like ominous and weird.
no, but
Like
what
self-fulfilling.
the reason I like it because I once did this. I had this aha moment as to why they're amazing when I was working with this one couple. They're actually a same sex couple, and my client called me and was telling me that they had this discussion and that if one of them were to take a step back from their career, it was going to be her, and that they had talked about it and that she thought there would be no issue with there being a maintenance provision for her if she left the workforce to raise children. Well, apparently they were not having the same conversation when they had it because it became the
Whoa.
biggest issue of the prenup. Like
Did they
the
actually have a prenup and get married?
they did. But like they were back to square one. And because the other spouse or spouse to be, fiance, would not do a provision where she was going to pay maintenance. And it became, so I said, look,
Wow.
now like
You
you
know a lot
cannot
about
take a
that
step
person.
back from your career for any reason if you're concerned about finances. And it was, I mean, it really was a shock. And so
Yeah.
it was like this
Of-
moment where I was like, these are so valuable for this reason. Like she would have gotten married. She might have left the workforce. And they both had very high powered jobs.
Which could have changed their whole dynamic as a couple.
But to me, I would not want to
Shit.
be with somebody like that because it would signal
Me too. I
like
wouldn't want to go through
selfishness.
that.
I don't know.
Well, it's not necessarily selfishness.
Well, then
I
what
think
else is it if it's not selfishness?
Because
My
I
money's
think
my money. His
if you're
money's my money.
if you're helping raise a family for you, right? Like that's
But
that's like you want to help
look,
them.
I think it
Sounds like that woman's a bitch.
What?
But I like what you're saying. It's about transparency. And I feel like our parents' generation, they might not have known anything going on in finances. So if there was a divorce, they had no idea what to ask
Yeah.
for, what there was, what the situation
Well, you can also
would be.
see someone's true colors.
But maybe it's not bitchiness. Maybe it's that person saying, like, one of the things I really respect and appreciate about my fiance is her career and is her passion for her job. And like maybe she was saying to herself, well, how am I going to feel when that's not a part of who she is anymore? And I think that that's like a big thing. Like if you think of it from the perspective of, your husband, like I know that I have a lot of friends who lose respect for their spouse if they, aren't as driven as they were when they first met or aren't
Yes.
aren't
But
as
then you're saying,
successful.
but raising kids is fucking hard. So if you're home, it's still
Yeah, but maybe her perspective is like like most of America or New York have dual income households.
Right.
That's
I think
most of the world, right? So, I mean,
yeah, but
it just feels like there's an easier way to say it. Like, I
Right.
love that we both work and can come home and have intellectual conversations, and I respect your intellect, and I want you to always have that piece of you so I don't feel like you're dependent on me.
right.
Then, like, if we get divorced, I'm never going to pay alimony.
I agree. I have to agree with Eva. I think it shows because life. Look, you could, God forbid, someone could get sick. They could get paralyzed. There's a million reasons.
well, that would be an exception.
But I'm
Right.
saying there could be a million reasons, and now you know that if you don't work or have this job, like you're not going to be valued by your spouse in a sense, right? Maybe not. I don't know.
But on the other
I
hand,
agree
like
with Eva. It's pretty telling.
the law expects if you're able-bodied that you work, right? So is
Right.
it really such a horrible perspective to
Right.
have, or is it like what the
No,
court's
I'm just-
saying is what the perspective should be?
I guess I'm thinking when your kids are little. Look, in New York, yeah, of course there are a lot of double incomes, but like daycare or babysitters, it's like not a lot of couples, both people make enough money where it makes sense to have.
Right. I was going to say,
like,
actually,
outsource that.
this really is an old stat, but I had a colleague when I worked, and it was probably when I only had one child. So let's say it's 17 years ago. And she had done the math. She had run the numbers and said, I need to make more than $100,000 pre-tax in order for it to justify
Yeah.
me having a job versus a nanny.
Right.
Now, that was 17 years ago. So who knows what that
No, it's
calculation is
still
today.
like teachers often like that's where they come out. That's why a lot of people leave that career to raise kids because at that point in your career as a teacher, typically not making enough to justify paying childcare.
Also,
But
it's not a flexible job. You do have summers off, but it's not like you can't just leave your fourth grade classroom to like go home early. You
So-
know,
right.
Let me ask you, I mean, you have such a clear-eyed view of marriage and divorce, and we were just talking about prenups, and you are now happily engaged, and am I correct? You finally found a wedding
Yes,
venue?
It was not. People like don't like money. Like restaurant and venue owners don't. Apparently, business development's not a thing anymore. I don't know what the issue is. We called so many places that never called us back.
That's
What?
crazy.
Crazy, and it's not even like we had a conversation. So they're like, "Oh, these two are a pain in the ass," because Spencer was in the restaurant business, so I could see that him having a conversation with somebody who's like, "Oh no, like this is gonna be."
He knows too
He
much.
knows too much. But this is, I'm telling you, like leaving messages. I wrote to one venue 3 emails,
Sometimes they
messaged them
deal with
on
party-
Instagram.
they might deal with party event planners, maybe. And
No, it's like to plan an event, email this email address. Our
I
event
think
planning
people
address.
just don't work
Never
that hard.
responded.
ooh, sorry, I
Ooh.
always have this phone. I have no idea where the fuck that phone's coming from.
But I think a lot of people just don't work that
Right.
hard if they don't have skin in the game. But who knows? But I'm glad you found a venue. And I guess like as you go into
wedding
this,
bells, we'll pretend the ring's a wedding bell.
Yeah, that's the phone.
as you go into this like romantic period and getting married, like, do you think of it that way, or because you're a divorce lawyer and because you've like have all this knowledge, like, are you more practical about it, or are you still a romantic?
No, I think I'm still romantic. I think that I'm trying more impactful on the process is just like life. Like when I planned my first wedding, all I had to worry about was like my job and my wedding. And now I've got 2 kids who are like 2 in middle school, which is, I feel,
Tough.
somebody once said to me, sort of digressing, but my neighbor who was a very successful female business person, said to me that people always, say that they stay home until their kids get to elementary school, but the time to be home is like middle school when they come
That's
home
what
and
you
they
always
need
said.
you.
I am
I may have said that
your
too.
no. I 100% agree with your neighbor. I've always said that
Your daughter
work while your
needs you.
kids are young, and then they really just need the basic things, like somebody keeping them safe, like being loving, saying this is red, this is
Right.
red.
Well, I hope
But
I was
as your
appreciated.
kid gets into middle school and beyond, little people, little problems, big
Yeah.
people, big problems. So if you have the luxury to not work at any point, I do feel like my kids need me more at this stage. And
Yeah,
so,
so do I.
but yeah, you have, I mean, I don't even know how you can like think about planning a wedding.
Well,
right
so it's like
now.
we got the venue and then it was like, okay, done. And I'm realizing it's like less than a year away.
You need a photographer, you need a
everything.
band.
And most people are booking years out.
No, you just need a photographer and a band, and I think you're good.
We need
Or
music. It's
music
the most
photographer.
important thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
but
have to like get back into that headspace. But
I think before we end, I think one good piece of advice for couples who are not on the path to divorce, because if you are, you call Jill Spielberg and we'll have all of her contact info.
Definitely.
If you're just having a rut, and I think you were saying, lack of appreciation is really like the thing. I think, and I've done this with my husband, it's like if you write on a note, like just a few things that you love about that person or that what you thought when you first met them, it kind of makes you feel good. So it's like an exercise for couples feeling a little
I think
in a
it's
rut.
like to sit down and I think even if it's to ask yourself, like
It just feels really good when someone else says it about you.
But I have this conversation.
Oh, wait, are you saying you write a list and give it to Jeremy and say, tell me these 3 things?
No, I write a list about how I appreciate Jeremy, and he writes a list about me.
Oh, so you've done this with him? Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. That's really sweet.
Obviously a couples therapist told us to do that. I didn't come up with that.
It's a good thing to do. I mean, I think
Made me feel good.
you have to remind yourself what you appreciate. And sometimes, and maybe this isn't the healthiest way to do it, but when I've had conversations more with men about divorce, like they're like, they know what they appreciate. They know what they'll miss. It's like you're asking yourself what you'll miss if that person is no longer there. And that's like how you can back into what you're appreciating. So you think about, it's not the most positive way to do it, sort of like the negative way to figure it out.
It gets to the heart
My
of the
husband
issue.
might be like, I don't know. I gotta think about what I missed.
Well, that's just his humor.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're together. He's funny.
So you appreciate his humor.
I do. I do. Even though I'm funnier, but that's okay. Just kidding. He's a little more British funny, and I'm a little more slapstick. But anyway, this has been so much fun. I hope that your soon-to-be stepdaughter and son are not mad that we had so much fun doing this.
No, I mean, I feel like I'd be the luckiest person in the world now if things continued. And
if not,
just meaning like
have
the
a great
thought of
divorce
having
lawyer.
you as would you be a sister-in-law? Wait, how does that work?
She'd be a stepmother. She'd be a mother-in-law. An in-law.
We'd celebrate holidays together.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
And if it doesn't work out, Jill can take care of it.
Oh God.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm not going to put negativity in the universe.
All positive.
Always positive.
I read something actually, which I'm doing with my kids, that like you can literally rewire your brain if you say positive things all the time.
And you can manifest shit.
I told them that like it's again middle school. So I'm like, before we go to bed, we're gonna remind ourselves how cool we are, how much fun we are, how smart we are. And they looked at me like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, we're doing it. We're gonna do it because I'm rewiring your brains because they need rewiring. So I
love that. Oh my God.
So you already are an amazing lawyer, but we are basically a billionaire co-founder podcast host.
I can't wait to wear my swag everywhere.
So
yes, thank you.
And for everybody who's listening, don't forget to buy our sweatshirts. They're on mic'dandmedicated.com and they're $69 because we have a sense of humor.
And with that, thank you,
drop.
Jill. Mic drop.
Thank you for having
Jill.
me.